I am Paramount Cyclops, and welcome to my channel. I just got off of a riveting online debate. It was a rather good debate. All parties were very civil. All parties brought what they believed was the best of their evidences and argued their points and listened to everybody else's points. A very rare occurrence in today's day and age. Today, things tend to devolve into personal attacks. So during this debate, I used my classic if I were an alien observation, and it seemed to be very effective. So I thought I would expand upon that, and perhaps someone can glean some knowledge of how to look at things from a different perspective. Now, before I start this video, let me say, yes, of course, obviously, females have their own sets of issues and troubles. And so do men. And so do different races and nationalities and groups of all different sorts. But right now, I am speaking as a whole, as if I were an outsider looking in. Now, this isn't about who is the bigger victim. It's about why do we not give attention to one side, but we give all the attention and thereby the money to the other side. So bear with me, if you will. The argument goes thusly. If you were an alien and you came down to the planet Earth and you were trying to discern which individuals held the power, and you landed at least in the Western world, which stands a great chance because where would an alien land? They would come in from space and they would land in the spots with the most lights. That would most likely be the Western world. They are the most lit and energy consuming nations. So you, as an alien, observe the human species for an unspecified period of time, and you notice these points. 1. Males are overwhelmingly the victims of violent crime, but the funding and the attention goes to stopping violence against females. 2. Males receive 65% longer sentences for the same crimes as female defendants, and female defendants are much more likely to avoid jail time altogether. 3. Females are by default given all opportunities in court systems when it comes to rearing the young. Men don't really have a choice, which brings me to the next point. Men have zero reproductive rights. The reproductive rights are the most important rights to the human civilization, and they are held only by the females, and not even down to the point where she controls it when it's in her body. Fine, I can deal with that. I'm talking about things such as the mother who gives birth. The child is already born. It is a living, breathing being. Nobody can deny that. Nobody can say it is just a bundle of cells anymore. It is out in the world. It has already taken breath. It has already made noise, cried. It is a bona fide life. Self-sufficient, that's up to debate. Of course, it needs help, but it is a sentient, living being, no longer a cluster of cells, yet she has the authority to give that child up for adoption without even letting the father, who may want the child, the option of even having the child, not even the option. Another point, a woman cries rape. Whether it's true or not, before any investigation is done, the man is demonized and fired, and in some cases jailed, and in some cases even killed. The ultimate penalty. And how many times do we have to hear stories of individuals getting out of jail, mostly men, after decades of jail on a false accusation? Or how many stories do we have to hear about the girl was out late, she was scared her parents would get mad, and so she falsely accuses a boy? It happens, and do not tell me it is rare, because it appears the evidence is not in your favor if you think that. The evidence shows that it happens quite frequently. Do a search. You'll find multiple stories. Yet, a man, if he claims that a woman sexually assaulted him or raped him, two things happen. One, he is not believed, and the woman is given all due process, and people are told, do not jump to conclusions. Nothing has been found out. But if it were a man, of course, conclusions would be jumped to, and the man would be obviously evil, indicating that women are wonderful and men are demons. And the other part of that is, it is almost impossible for a female to get charged with raping a male. Let me give you a scenario. A male has a machete, waits in a female's apartment while she's on vacation. She comes back, he takes the machete, holds her down on the bed, and has intercourse against her will at machete point. Would you consider that rape? I will guarantee you 100% of you said, yes, it is rape. But the true story was that it was a female that had the machete, and she waited her male ex-boyfriend's apartment for him to come home, held him at machete point, and all the news outlets reported it as forced intercourse. She wasn't even charged with rape. So you can see from an alien's perspective on the outside looking in, what would you naturally believe? You would believe that the males are the inferior sex. We live less than women. They live an average of 6 years longer, yet health funding, the majority of it goes to females. Breast cancer versus prostate cancer as a spectacular example. Mental health funding, almost nil for men, abundant for females. Females are able to openly mock and degrade men and masculinity as a whole with almost zero repercussions. False accusations get almost zero repercussions. So you can see the dilemma here. Does feminism really seek equality? I don't see the evidence pointing that way. But I will leave a challenge. Anybody who can sway my opinion on this and tell me that feminism is a good thing and that feminism advances and seeks equality rather than superiority or preferential treatment. It seems anymore that it's preferential treatment when they need it and equality when they need it, and they get to switch back and forth. But if anybody can prove and change my opinion on this with fact, I am more than willing to hear you out. I love the debate and the argument. We cannot advance as a society if we shut our ears and do not hear the other side. We must listen. We must weigh our evidence against the other side's evidence and form a reasoned conclusion. Maybe, perhaps, one by one, we can bring back uncommon common sense.